usually cover this guy because he's a freak. But Mark Dice is also very mad that a socialist won, which I think is really funny because it's like, look at the opposite. And if you've never heard this guy speak, you'll hear how different he is than Zoran Mamdani and anyone who would vote for him, right? And he's just like a Nazi, but like, how do I even describe this guy for people who haven't seen him before? He's like a tweaky little, not bright guy. Let's just say that. He is not a very intelligent man, but he has fostered a large following on YouTube of what I suspect are also not very impressive men. So here he is being very mad that Zoran Mamdani won the election.
Let's talk about the fall of New York City for a moment, which is like the San Francisco of the East Coast. Once one of the greatest cities in the world.
I think actually the San Francisco is the New York of the West Coast, but that's just how time works.
World, now a complete crime-infested wasteland, having fallen to the idiocy of the Democrat Party and liberalism. And now...
Liberalism? I mean, I agree, liberalism bad.
This clown, 33-year-old...
Are you saying he's a liberal?
Zoran Mamdani. Admitted
Zoran? This guy orders quesadillas from Taco Bell. No sauce, it's too spicy for him.
Socialist may be the next mayor of the city to pound
Correct.
the final nail into its coffin.
Into its coffin. When people have, like, better lives and New York is doing fine, what are they going to do?
It's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism.
Based? Raucous applause. This guy's rocking back and forth. Look at him. This is what I'm talking about. He's like a tweaky guy. He's always like, fine.
Mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors. And to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party.
Oh, we know that you're a model of the Democrat Party. We'll get
He's a handsome man.
more into him in a moment, and he very well may win because we're talking about the same city that voted Bill de Blasio in as their mayor.
Free fries.
Bill de Blasio? Look at this guy.
You get vaccinated?
Damn. Those look like pretty
I got
soggy
vaccinated.
fries, Bill.
Obviously.
You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries?
This was a
Damn. That's a pretty good promo. I think maybe they should have used better fries. Crinkle fries? Bottom tier fries. If those were crispy shoestrings or, just even McDonald's fries, just fresh ones, I would have fucked. That would have been good. Crinkle cut? Yeah, not a good one. There's like fries you give to kids on purpose because their standards are low. I don't even know why we offer them otherwise. They don't fry up well. If they're thin crinkle cuts, that's pretty good. Waffle cut go hard. The problem with waffle cut, and I don't know why this is, it must be the form factor. It just allows for too much evaporation. But they get cold so fast. That's a problem with waffle fries. I do agree, though, at peak, I think waffle fry is an S-tier fry. There's like 3 or 4 S-tier fries. When at its peak, have you ever had like a really, really good homemade fry, like in duck fat or some shit? That's S+ tier. But like, tots are S tier? There's an argument to be made. We're off track here, chat. We're trying to talk of joyous things instead of spending time looking at Mark Dice, whose neck and face have really just morphed into the same organ. Look at his demonic little beady eyes, and he's on his neck stalk. Anyway, sorry. All right, let's move on. Cute beaver over here.
promo that he put out during the COVID lockdowns, you may recall. And if you missed it, this is not a skit from a sketch comedy show. This is real. Bribing the citizens of New York City to get their experimental vaccine.
So we just watched a Steven Crowder video yesterday, and now I'm watching this guy, and they kind of have a similar, like, the joke is that he has some kind of, like, boiling rage beneath him, but of course he's an impotent freak. So it's like, I don't even know how to describe it other than there's a reason this guy has been confined to his bedroom on YouTube, you know?
By offering them free French fries and a burger. And that's why...
And a burger? I've never gotten that for getting vaccines. I've always gotten those things for free or for charge, you know? I've always had to pay or just get them. Never gotten I've gotten a cookie before. I've gotten Subway sandwiches for giving blood in high school. That's more than they gave me for giving plasma. Well, I guess they gave me some money for giving plasma before. Anybody else in chat selling plasma for cash? Been there. Valid way to get by. Makes you faint? Yeah, I don't want to do it either.
Ron DeSantis posted, just when you thought Palm Beach real estate couldn't go any higher, because any remaining rich people there who have a brain are going to leave and move down to Florida, just like people did during the COVID lockdowns.
Okay. Here's how it works. You have Billionaire Flight. Go for it. Doesn't matter. They still do business in New York City because it's the hub of, like, you can't even fucking trade unless the business goes through New York City. You know what I mean? What, you're not going to play the stock market? So, like, you have to if you invest in worldwide business, end up subject to New York at some point. It's like an inevitable reality. He has so much leverage here. So, like, good luck, I guess. Go for it. Go down to Florida. We're going to see one day when just, like, the only people that live in Florida are billionaires on what's left of the land that hasn't been sunken into the sea. And they're like, nah, we're never going to leave. And we're just like, okay. And we build a wall around the peninsula. I'll talk, they never really leave. Of course they're not going to, because there's still prestige in this kind of thing. Anyway, so making the lives better for people in your situation is bad, I guess. What we need to do is think of the billionaires, of which there are like 2,000 in the world.
This guy's a real piece of work, and credit to the local NBC News affiliate, which is often very different from the national brand name outlets. The local affiliates usually have a lot more independence and freedom, even though they...
You're calling it independence and freedom for a local thing when really they're just owned by the same fucking right-wing corporations.
Operate under the banner of these big brand names.
Because I think that New Yorkers, more than they hate a politician they disagree with, they hate a politician they can't trust.
On the subject of trust, you've adopted different speaking accents in different scenarios.
But they go to their local bodega.
Is there one that's real and one that's affected?
What I would say is, as any immigrant knows, having been born in Kampala, Uganda, and then raised in South Africa and moving here when I'm 7 years old, is there are different parts of my life.
Worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour.
Mamdani was talking about a worldwide press tour back when he was a rapper.
Right. Yeah. So, anyway, they keep doing this, and it just makes him cool every time. He's just a multicultural, multilingual, smart, well-spoken, good-looking, effective politician. I'm supposed to not like every single thing they share about this guy. I'm like, yeah, sounds like a cool, interesting man that knows things. I'd vote for him.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice.
In a Disney movie directed by his mother.
Nepotism and hard work goes a long way. Here,
he's literally calling himself a victor of nepotism. By the way, a Disney movie, what was that fucking straight to DVD or something? Like, we're acting like it's such a big deal.
in New York City, this is how I speak.
Well, that's not true. We've seen your campaign ads, sir.
बात ये नहीं है कि मैं क्या बनूंगा.
That's a different language, Mark. He thinks he's doing an accent. He can't tell. Because he sees the subtitles. He's like, that's English.
बात ये है कि मैं क्या करूंगा. हमारे
That's a different language, Mark.
communities के लिए और हर एक न्यूयॉर्कर के लिए.
An American campaign ad running for the mayor of America's biggest and most powerful city.
Speak American. Better speak American, Zoran. God, you sound so fucking stupid. When we get rid of the mouth breathers, we can have joy. That's the last mouth breather stops doing that, we'll have joy.
In a foreign language, of course, catering to the non-assimilating. Well, do we even call them immigrants if they haven't assimilated?
Haven't assimilated? You have to get off the fucking boat and you have to start talking as white as possible. You ever seen that? Is that a Chinese guy that talks like Trump but in Chinese? Is he? No, I'm not thinking of the Korean guy. I'm thinking of the Chinese guy.
Guys, you know where we are? We're in Chongqing, China. Look at this. We're literally in the sky. Look at this. It's so high. It's so high. It's like we're walking in the sky.
Now, I've heard him speak. Maybe he'll speak Chinese too, or Mandarin.
And the city is tremendous. If you look down there, it's like so many floors. There's so many layers about this city. And look at the way they plan their buildings. Vintage style. I love the facade, right? Density, and the density is pretty.
Anyway, you get it.
Non-assimilating invaders.
Yeah, so if you don't talk like that, you're not assimilating. You're an invader. An invader. I genuinely think that Zoran is a better American than Mark Dice and guys like him by a long shot. I think we should absolutely purge the country of guys like Mark Dice. That'd be wonderful. We can deport him or whatever. Doesn't matter. Literal Nazi language. Oh, Mark Dice is a Nazi. Did I tell you? Told you that, didn't I?
His stunning victory in the primary over Andrew Cuomo,
Not really stunning.
former governor of New York, Fredo's older brother, has set off alarm bells across the country. Stephen Miller posted, New York City is the clearest warning yet of what happens to a society when it fails to control migration.
Oh, yeah. Full fucking Nazi today. Of course, Stephen Miller has the most racist-looking white skull. Whenever Stephen Miller dies, we will, in fact, get the calipers out to check exactly how white he is. It might be 100%. We won't know until he's dead.
Okay. To which Ted Cruz responded, yep.
Ted Cruz responded, yup. Deport Ted Cruz. Are you fucking kidding me? Deport Ted Cruz. He is no different than... Oh, now I'm forgetting his name. Deport Ted Cruz. What was the name of that gay Republican that is going to jail? Walter Masterson was making fun of him a lot. What was the name of that guy? He was like a representative for a second. George Santos. George Santos. Ted Cruz is a George Santos type. He is just using this to hide and enrich himself. You know what I mean? It is all about like, oh, don't pick me. Like, he is benefiting from the exact migration system that Zoran Mamdani is to become a senator in the United States. Like, come on.
Because this was the scene in Iran. I'm sorry. New York City yesterday.
Yeah, man, there are Muslims everywhere. I don't give a shit. This is honestly less upsetting to me than seeing Christians do their weird shit, frankly. I don't like any religions. I think this is like nicer. I like the sound. It seems peaceful. They're chilling. I'm not down with like, you know, the patriarchal way that it organizes itself. I mean, I don't agree that their God exists or whatever, and I don't agree with the tenets of their religion, but I definitely think that if you get to do fucking freak Christian shit, then they can do by relativity pretty normal Muslim shit. Like, come on, this is just chilling. This sounds nice.
They're celebrating the Islamic New Year. So we have various different ethnic groups living within our country who have not assimilated to the Gregorian calendar, which has been the global standard for like 500 years.
The Gregorian calendar, who cares? What do you mean? It's a symbolic gesture at best. It does. I don't know why you're offended. This is like virtue signal. It's not even a virtue signal. You're just a whiny bitch. I'm tired of right-wingers, man. There's conceptually a right-winger out there who has a legitimate gripe, but probably not. But none of them seem to. Like, oh, here's my concern, and you hear like a reasonable person saying, well, I don't know about stuff, but this guy's just a Nazi. I don't care, but this affects me zero if they think that the new year is whenever. I don't care. Why? It's arbitrary in any respect, the Gregorian calendar or otherwise. The Jewish calendar doesn't follow it either. Well, lucky you, he's an anti-Semite as well, so.
We have the Islamic New Year, the Jewish New Year is in September, the Chinese New Year is in February. But diversity is our strength, even though we can't agree to use the same calendar. And if you're
this country's a fucking joke. He's mad about New Year, I guess. I don't care. Whatever, man. What a freaky thing to be worried about.
a big nerd like me and you're interested in how the Gregorian calendar was developed as the global standard, maybe interested in this book, Calendar, Humanity's Epic Struggle to Determine a True and Accurate Year.
Yeah, I'm sure you read this.
And speaking of time...
He can read books. I would fucking love to see him read a book. Read a book out loud, Mark Dice. That would be hilarious.
This was New York City back in the 1950s. a much simpler time.
Without a single non-white person in it. Like what? In the 1950s.
Much safer time. A much less diverse time.
1950. There was a massive... I mean, you're saying non-white. So there was an Italian, Irish, all the others. There was, in the 40s, a massive uptick. And then in the 50s, it was even more. And then, now it's slowly becoming non-white. He's pulling from the whitest borough. It is white. There's a combination of things. There's definitely some white flight. But, like, frankly, what most of it is just, like, over time, what's happening is these people fall in love and have families. And they just aren't, their kids aren't considered as white as they were, and people die, and there's turnover. And that's what's going to happen everywhere. People are going to stop being, we're just going to become quite beige on a long enough stand. Isn't it lovely?
Whiter time. In fact, I don't think I've seen a single black person in this video yet. It must have been heaven. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Yes, it must have been heaven to not see any black people. Well, I know a way that he doesn't have to see anyone else in his whole life ever again. There's lots of ways that could happen. He never even has to gaze at all, ever.
Oh well, we're all thinking it anyway.
Are we? I'm not. This guy is incredibly racist. YouTube platforms this guy. They don't care. YouTube loves this shit. I mean, we don't watch Mark Dice a lot. There's not much to say about him other than, look at this. Look at this. Isn't he a piece of scum?
Now, thanks to diversity and decades of Democrat policies and the fatherlessness problem amongst a certain community there, the city...
Fatherlessness. I don't know, man. This is probably not a shock to anybody. I don't think white dads have a great track record. I don't think most people are like, my white dad did a good job. I genuinely don't know many people that are like, my white dad? What a sick as fuck guy. That guy rocked.
He has turned into a complete Mad Max crime-infested wasteland.
That is an insane thing to say. It's a crime-infested wasteland, this guy says, from his, fucking basement.
Where we need people like Daniel Penny to help keep law and order on the subways. But then you get the Democrat prosecutors who then charge him, maliciously persecuting him for protecting people. And while Republican Mayor Rudy Giuliani cleaned up that city better than anyone could imagine...
Rudy Giuliani did? Untrue. This guy looks fucking crazy, by the way.
Here is Zoran's philosophy about police, posting previously in the quote, "We don't need an investigation to know that NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety." See, everything is upside down and backwards in the minds of the liberal lunatics. The
liberal? It's funny that they can't parse the difference. They could really team up with the liberals against the socialists if they wanted to. A lot of them would do it. A lot of them are trying.
The police are the threat to public...
Yeah, they're just so fucking brain dead. He doesn't even know who he's arguing against.
Public safety.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages.
Yes, when the homeowner spots the culprit and confronts them and then are attacked by the person, that is an additional crime, sir.
Describing a different thing?
Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling.
Yes, because burglary often escalates into robbery, which...
It often escalates into it. So we might as well just conflate the two. Dumbass.
Involves not just the theft of property, but also violence or even the threat of violence, you moron.
So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence of the highest degree.
District attorneys prosecuting violent criminals is the real violence.
No, over-prosecuting people to get more maximal sentences so that you can try to bog down, put people in the prison system so that you can exploit their fucking labor because of fucking, 14th Amendment that allows for slavery. Pretty sick shit. 14th?
According to him. Sounds just like Benjamin Crump, that bottom-feeding, ambulance-chasing lawyer whose claim to fame was glomming on to the Trayvon Martin family, alongside race-baiting extraordinaire
13th? Oh, good.
Al Sharpton,
Even earlier.
who have come up with the solution to stop all crime in America.
We can get rid of all the crime in America overnight, just like that.
By taking care of people's needs, because most crime is caused by people having a lack of survival necessities and doing things that are considered crimes or unethical by the community in order to make ends meet.
By deporting all the black people? I'm sorry, that would actually only get rid of 50% of the crime because, as I'm sure you know by now if you're a regular viewer, black people are 13% of the population. But
It's 13, 15. Why do 93% of all sexual assaults happen because of white religious men? Nah, we're gonna go 93% of all pedophiles are white religious men. Why is that? That's crazy.
commit 50% of the crime. And it's actually even more disturbing than that because the overwhelming majority of that crime is committed by black males who are only 6.5% of the population. Okay, but please continue, sir. Tell us your brilliant solution.
And people ask how, Attorney Crump, change the definition of crime. Of course. If you get to define what conduct is going to be made criminal, you can predict who the criminal is going to be.
That's also true, by the way. That's also very fucking true.
Yeah, we're criminal, though.
Yeah.
Our existence is
the culture.
criminal.
But
That's
they made the law.
Well, I mean, black culture in America is synonymous with thug culture, which
What if we had, like, you know how there's, like, deer season?
is inherently criminal. So, yes, you know your community has a problem when these people are considered to be the leaders and at the forefront of justice.
Do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And
Based?
The correct
Based?
answer would be yes. While there are certainly critiques to be made of capitalism, it is by far the most brilliant and innovative economic philosophy known to man.
It's actually really stupid and fraught with loopholes and exploits and, like, bugs in the system. And it doesn't work unless there's an infinite growth model. So it collapses in on itself a lot, which causes unnecessary strife in human cultures. It's really, really, really inefficient, and we waste tons of shit. It is only impressive if you have a small mind, in my opinion.
And it's highly unlikely that at this point, anything else that's any better is going to come along. It has elevated the United States.
Yeah, nothing is going to come along.
To the world's superpower. And
It has elevated the United States to the world superpower because we're at the imperial core, brother. It has violated the human rights of the global south for a long time. It is a dying style of, like, government, and it will eventually fade, but it's going to take time.
enables anyone who is hardworking and disciplined and responsible to make a living. Well, I guess it did until the Democratic Socialists started wasting all of our tax dollars on illegal
Democratic Socialists? He's the only one.
illegal aliens and slush funds for their buddies.
Do you mean liberals? Do you just mean regular liberals?
Ship overseas and the military-industrial complex wasting all of our money. So, really, but that's not capitalism, though. That is crony capitalism.
It's not capitalism. It's capitalism, but also when you have cronies, which is it's filled with this capitalism is filled with it. So the capitalism that you're saying is good is bad. You dumb fuck. God, he can't even just like bury that. He had to say it out loud. He's like, all the bad stuff is crony capitalism. Like he had to address it because it's obviously fucking stupid. God.
I think ultimately the definition for me of why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's what I'm focused on is dignity and taking on income inequality.
May I remind you?
Beautiful. Beautiful, stays on message, calm. Love it.
That the city of New York during the Biden administration, and I'm sure still to this day, is paying $300 a night in what they call budget hotel rooms, because that's a budget in Manhattan, which is like the Beverly Hills of New York, for the illegal alien invaders. So not only do they break into our country by the hundreds of thousands during the Biden administration per month, but then they come here and then they siphon off American tax dollars, which, if you do the math...
So I think it would be much cheaper to house them. What if you just allowed people to be housed and contribute to society and work and live their own lives and pursue whatever thing they want to pursue, you know? Well, that would just be too nice. So anyway, this is a drop in the bucket compared to what the Trump administration is like shoveling into the furnace to try to deport people forcefully and are failing to do so in impressive enough numbers. It's like literally less than the Biden administration was doing, but like way more like brutal and crazy because it's just like inefficient.
That is $9,000 a month just for one hotel room for them, which would pay the mortgage on a home that's worth more than $1 million. And this is just from last week. New York City.
So you agree that it would be cheaper to pay for housing instead of using privatized hotel rooms to pay for it? That'd be crazy. Instead of having to submit to the corporations and pay their fees, the government could simply house human beings, allowing them to choose the shelter that they like. Just dumbass. He's like literally complaining that capitalism is bad.
He inks a $1 billion shelter contract with hotels.
Do you see what I'm saying? They contracted it out to corporations instead of having the wherewithal and dignity and thoughtfulness to use socialized housing systems to not have to pay this kind of bill so that you can just invest in the future of your community. But no.
To house 86,000 criminal invaders and homeless, despite claims that the migrant crisis is easing. $1 billion.
Not the New York Post.
In New York resident tax dollars being wasted on people who shouldn't even be here.
I disagree. Every human is legal anywhere they're at.
During the height of the invasion crisis, 1 out of 5, 20% of the hotels in New York City was, it probably still is, housing the migrants, being used as the migrant shelters, which obviously...
Yeah, it is a pretty shitty way to do things because hotel rooms are not meant to be lived in long term. That's not housing. They should be moved to more affordable long-term living situations where they can have dignity. Yeah, I guess the capitalist system doesn't work at all, and it's very inefficient. That's crazy, dude. I also have this same critique, but you are just like, it must be the brown people's fault and not the idiots who set the system up. Like, I don't understand why this guy wants to be locked inside his American cage. Why don't you want to be able to, like, move about the world? What a cucked position, man. I do not understand right-wingers at all. They're all fucking dumbasses. They're genuinely throating corporations.
Look, can I have some gay butt sex already?
Nice. Exactly. Call me crazy, but I think a white supremacist article written by some dude named Camden and read by this tweaker chud is something we should take to shake our asses off at. Oh, I see. You don't like Camden?
Drove the price up for residents.
What is wrong with salami?
Causing the Democrat mayor, Eric Adams, to admit that the migrant crisis will destroy New York City. And
Eric Adams? He's a Republican.
Nothing. I love salami.
Eric Adams is right-wing. And also a dumbass.
And, of course, the powers that be indicted him on some trumped-up charges because he had to be...
What's wrong with salami? Salami is delicious.
You gotta wait 1 second, chat.
He shut down. They couldn't allow him talking like that, especially during an election year.
So now he's on his side. He likes him.
Even though he is a Democrat, he's a former cop, and I kind of like this guy.
So, this is
I like this guy.
You know, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. All these Negroes who are asking me to step down, God, forgive them.
Sounds
He liked that he got close to saying a slur.
Like, aside from having immigrant fatigue, he also has black fatigue as well. I mean, don't we all?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think what we have fatigue is of whiteness.
Jesus died on the cross so you could see the letter T.
T. I think we would be better off with fewer white guys with YouTube channels. That's my opinion, even though I'm one of them. Subscribe immediately.